Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi there, my name is Shahrul Shamsuddin. So today we're gonna discuss about elasticity. Okay, first of all, what is the main objective from this learning? There are 5 objectives achieved. First one is explain and calculate price elasticity demand. Second, explain the usefulness of the total revenue test. Third, list factors that affect price elasticity of demand. Fourth, describe and apply price elasticity of demand. And lastly, apply cross elasticity of demand and income elasticity of demand. Okay, next, what is price elasticity of demand? Price elasticity of demand is the ratio of the percentage change in quantity demanded of a product or resources to the percentage change in its price, a measure of the responsiveness of buyer to a change in the price of a product or resources. Okay, next, price elasticity coefficient and formula. Okay, economists measure the degree which if demand price elasticity and elastic with the coefficient ED, defined as percentage change in quantity demand divided by percentage change in price. Okay, there are 3 ways to calculate price elasticity of demand. Okay, for the first one is the midpoint formula, second one using percentage, and last one elimination minus signs. Okay, what is the midpoint formula? The midpoint formula is preferable when calculating the price elasticity of demand because it gives the same answer consider of the direction of change. Okay, in the slide, this is the example how we want to calculate the midpoint formula. Okay, the second one is using percentage. Okay, why use percentage rather than absolute amount? There are 2 reasons. For the first reason is unit free measure, and second reason is compare elasticity across product. Okay, the last one is elimination minus sign. As we all know, economists usually ignore the minus sign and simply present the absolute value of the elasticity coefficient to avoid any ambiguity that might otherwise arise. Okay, you can easily confuse people by saying that minus 4 is greater than minus 2. So, if we want to avoid that, we ignore the minus sign and we thought 4 is greater than 2. So, that's why we use the elimination minus sign. Okay. Next one is example of what is inelastic and elastic demand. Okay, for the first one is elastic demand. Elastic demand is a product or resources demand whose price elasticity demand is greater than 1, while inelastic demand is a product or resources demanded for which the price elasticity is less than 1. However, in the same case, demand or supply for which the elasticity coefficient is equal to 1 means that the percentage change in the quantity demanded of quantity supply is equal. So it's called unique elasticity.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Ahmad Aqil Haikal with Ahmad Helmy, and I'm your second presenter. I'm going to explain about total revenue test, which is the total number of dollars received by a firm from the sale of a product equal to the total expenditure for the product produced by the firm equal to quantity demanded multiplied by the price at which it is sold. Firstly, we need to remember that total revenues is equal to price multiplied with quantity demanded. I'm going to explain about 3 graphs that reflect in elastic demand, inelastic demand, and unit elasticity. Okay, firstly, elastic demand. Elastic demand the graph elastic demand will look like this, and when the price decrease, total revenue will increase. Because when price decrease, the percentage of quantity demanded that increase is higher than percentage of price decreasing. For example, when price decline from $2 to $1, total revenue increases from $20 to $40, and gain from the total revenue, which reflected by blue area, is greater than loss, which is the yellow area. Inelastic demand. Price decrease, total revenue decrease. Why? Because when price decrease, the percentage of quantity demanded that increase is lesser the percentage of price that decrease. Thus, For example, we can see that price decline from $4 to $1, total revenue falls from $40 to $20. And the gain, which is the blue area, is smaller than loss, which is the yellow area. And the last one, unit elasticity. Price changes, total revenue unchanged. For example, price decline from $3 to $1, total revenue does not change. When price is $3, the quantity demanded is 10. 3 multiplied with 10 is 30. And at $1, the quantity demanded is 30. 1 multiplied with 30 is 30. So total revenue does not change. And gain is equal to loss in this type of elasticity.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mohamad Nazif Imran bin Muhammad Ikhranizam, and I'll present to all of you regarding price elasticity and total revenue curve. As you can see, on the top left, it represents the demand curve, and on the bottom right, represent the total revenue curve. So the brown region on both curve, it shows elasticity more than 1, while the orange region represents unit elastic, and the peach region represents the inelastic. So both comparison of both curves show the relationship between elasticity and demand curve. In the elastic range, lowering the price of a product from 8,000 to 5,000 will cause the total revenue to increase from $8,000 to $20,000. In this case, the total revenue changed in opposite directions, confirming that demand is elastic. That's the reason why, as the price decreases, the slope of the total revenue is decreasing. Next, in the unit elastic range, regardless of the change of price, either from $4,000 to $5,000 or vice versa, the total revenue remains unchanged, which is constantly not changing $20,000. Next, in the inelastic range, lowering the price of a product from $4,000 to $1,000 will cause the total revenue to decline from $20,000 to $8,000. In this case, the total revenue move in the same direction as the price, confirming that demand is inelastic. So that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nazif. Assalamualaikum and hi guys. My name is Mifzal and I'm going to be your part presenter. Okay, for my part, I will further explain about the determinant of price elasticity of demand. Basically, for our syllabus, we are covering only these 4 determinants of price of elasticity of demands. The first one is necessities versus luxuries. Second, the availability of substitutes. Next, the proportions of consumers' income spent on a particular goods. And the last one is time. In the following slides, I will further explain about these determinants. Okay, necessities versus luxuries. For this determinant, the key point that I want to highlight is that the more luxurious the product is, the more elastic demand will be. In other words, the products will be more elastic if the product is more luxurious. For example, expensive cars. This is a luxurious product, so it tends to be more elastic nowadays. Especially during pandemic, the consumer will spend a lot of time considering luxurious things before buying it. But for necessities, it will be different. It is because the greater necessity of the product will be more inelastic. For example, rice. Because rice is a necessity for us as humans, so it tends to be inelastic. Next, the availability of substitutes. For this determinant, the greater number of substitutes of a particular product, it will be more elastic, and vice versa. For example, mass sales during pandemic COVID-19. Because of these pandemics, many producers tend to sell masks. So there will be many options for customers to choose a mask to buy. So the masks tend to be elastic. Next, the proportions of consumer incomes spent on a particular goods. For this determinant, the important point is the greater the proportions of income spent on goods and services, the greater will be its elasticity of demands, and vice versa. In other words, the more money we spend on a particular product, the product will be more elastic. On the other hand, the lesser money we spend on a particular product, that product will be more inelastic. For example, for special treatment for COVID-19 cure, it will cost a lot of money. So that special treatment will be more elastic. Lastly, of course, times. For this point, the longer the period of times, the demand tends to be more elastic. For example, especially during this pandemic COVID-19, we do not have much time shopping in supermarkets because of the spreading of COVID-19. So many products tend to be more inelastic as customers will buy the products that they need as soon as possible. I think that's all from me. I will pass the floor to Ariff. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ariff and I will be your last presenter, and I will present to all of you how is elasticity that has been described by all my friends earlier applied into the real life. So there is three types of elasticity that I will describe it to all of you, which is price elasticity of demand, and secondly the cross elasticity, and lastly the income elasticity, which this thing that has been happen around all of us. Firstly, the price elasticity of demand. Nowadays, we can see a lot of example of demand elasticity. Firstly, for the price elasticity of demand, we have hand sanitizer as our example. The outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic has prompted people to buy hand sanitizer at its normal price. And as people have more awareness, the demand for hand sanitizer has been skyrocketing, and also its price increases afterwards. As a result, people have started to look for another cheaper alternative of hand sanitizer. That is where we can see the elasticity. Next, the cross elasticity. In the market, there is so many of goods. It can be complementary goods and it can be substitute goods. As an example of substitute goods, the complementary goods, which is printer and ink cartridge. A change in the price will affect the other good in the same way. As the example, the ink cartridge. If the price of ink cartridge increases, the price of printer will increase also. Next is the substitute goods such as fish and chicken. A change in one price of a good will affect other good invertedly. As an example, if the price of chicken is increasing, so the people will look for the fish, because fish is one of the protein source. So if the chicken price getting expensive, so people will look for a cheaper option, which is fish. And lastly, the income elasticity. So this is me, Ariff. His income, which is an allowance, is 500 a month, and he will buy a cheap food so that he can use his money for a month adequately. But let's say his parent give him a tip of 300 ringgit, so he have now 800, and he desired to buy a better option of food. So that is how total income affect his purchase pattern wish to buy an inferior good or a normal good. And I think that is all from us. Thank you.